injured here. 1v1 outer reaches. Blue side. It's zoukka as a plague champion starts off range combat with this damage over time. Bolter can get melee weapons. Really good utility, can build turrets and repair, but lacks mobility. Some decent offense as well later on. Up against is Bad Ash as an Orc Warboss walks through cover, very angry. Look at his face. Fights in melee combat. Very good offense disruption and support from the front lines. And double heretics opening for zoukka. The Warboss himself can counter melee pretty nicely, especially early melee with his cyborg implants and his spiky armor. So I'd be quite surprised if we see double aspiring champion heretics. Anyway, natural for zoukka in the southeast, natural for Bad Ash towards the northwest, and a contested all the way up in this northeast corner. Looks like the Warboss is going for it. Chaos Space Marines following up for zoukka. Heavy ranged infantry. Decent in melee though. Can become very specialized and offensive in tier 2 with Marks. Black Legion out to play. Contested power taken by zoukka and noded. There's another contested power right in the middle of the map, and the two naturals, which are reasonably difficult to defend. Not that close to base, especially if one of the players has a dominating position at the top. Warboss does take that victory point. Shooters here losing a model, light range infantry, very good DPS in tier 1 if you get their upgrades. Scary DPS really, but losing models and bleeding to those Chaos Space Marines. Only lost one though. Plague Champion in there with his damage over time. Bolter, here comes the Warboss. Is he going to tie up the Plague Champion or tie up the Chaos Space Marines? He's gone for the Plague Champion. Might see a stomp soon as well. Shooters are there. There is the stomp. That's the starting ability for the Warboss. Some disruption there at close range. Plague Champion himself only starts with the ability to build turrets, which I don't really like very much. Why does he have turrets? He's a Plague Champion. Seems like Relic just wanted to mirror the Tech Marine in some ways. Aspiring Champion Heretics almost wiping out those sluggers. Get away with just 2 models. Warboss still tying up this Plague Champion. Has took quite a lot of health off him. Starts with 680 the Plague Champion, which is a reasonable amount for a ranged commander, but he is quite slow, so it balances out. Central power untouched, and now zoukka, having won the first engagement, can start decapping stuff and being annoying. He needs to decap though. There we go. Fully matured rec point here, plus 30 per minute. Requisition points mature over time to give you more requisition. This one up to plus 25, plus 30 is the maximum. Power points on the other hand do not mature over time. They just increase as you add generators. Double shooters here. No upgrades yet for these guys. We do have a big shooter on the way. Can use this to suppress those dangerous aspiring champion heretics. Keep them out of melee. These shooters not behind cover though, but doing a lot of DPS to that Plague Champion. Look at the damage. Plague Champion there behind light cover and goes down. Pain Boy on the field for Bad Ash. Really nice little support sub-commander for Orks as a heal, which you can make stronger in tier 2. The small upfront heal with lots of health regen, and his Chaos Space Marines might be caught in retreat. Also has a power melee weapon. Ouch. Chaos Space Marines losing 2 models. Nice grenade launcher usage though by zoukka. That was a bad little engagement there for zoukka. Losing his Plague Champion, it is sloppy. And his Chaos Space Marines getting caught in retreat. Warboss now decaps the northeast, taking back his rec point. Fully built up generators here for zoukka. Might get hit now. No burners on the sluggers though, so they're going to have to whack them to death. Pain Boy and burners are on the way. Pain Boy alongside sluggers can be a very powerful combo in tier 1. Even more so if you add Storm Boys to that mix. But that's quite a heavy tier 1 if you get Pain Boys, Storm Boys and upgrade your sluggers and shooters. These sluggers do have their burners now, gives them a couple of power melee weapons and a couple of ranged flamers to use of course, and a small health increase as well. Not sure exactly what that health increase is. 433, 470. Grenade launcher heretics. Good little artillery weapon in tier 1. You saw the grenade barrage disrupting those sluggers there in that last engagement. and aspiring champion heretics with a Chaos Marine leading them. These guys are pretty fearsome in melee for a tier 1 squad. Can also counter other melee units very, very effectively with their Doom Blast. Here come shooters, one of them upgraded with a big shooter, the others in their default state. Gonna come after this node. Heretics are there, but they're alone. Don't want to engage this, I don't think. They'll be shot to pieces. Badash using these sluggers in a range stance so we can flame that node down quickly. And we have triple gens up for both players. Plague Champion back on his feet, repurchased. A bit idle here though. Heretics are still idle. Plague Champion not wanting to go out and decap stuff. 399, 470. And Zoukka goes tier 2 with just double Heretics and CSM. There's the grenade barrage, nicely done on those sluggers, but now they're going to get caught and tied up by the Pain Boy. Plague Champion has fetid armor and mucus discharge up. Fetid armor is awesome, only 20 power, and it suppresses the unholy stench ability, suppresses for so long. You see how long the Pain Boy was suppressed for there. There's a stomp, but didn't affect the Chaos Space Marines because they were in retreat. And there's a big, oh, that was a special attack perhaps. There was the big stomp from the Cyborg implants. And Angry Bits is up. Badash a bit behind in terms of tech, but does have the more fearsome tier 1 army on the field. Pain Boy healing up at pace now. I think he has only infantry armor, not commander armor. Shooters cap this contested power. Warboss cap in the other. And it looks like very nice map control for Badash. Now has some looters on the way. A decent choice, though we could see bloodletters. 357, 470. Maybe even a quick blood crusher here.
Our temple's dark majesty grows with our power.
Badash still in tier 1. Obviously has no idea that Badash has just got some looters, or he might have got a blood crusher out. 344, 470. Warboss now backing off. Still level 1. Both commanders still level 1, I think. Yes. Pain Boy healing the Warboss, and then he combines that with the Angry Bits regen. Gives some really nice health regeneration. As you can see, still taking a lot of damage though. He's a bit isolated there, the Warboss, and needs to retreat. Sluggers and Pain Boy a bit late to join the engagement there. Warboss is really important for your engagements as Orks. Heretics trying to get into melee combat, being chain suppressed by the shooters. Are taking a lot of damage from his grenade launchers. Might lose a squad here if he's not careful. Badash does retreat them in time. Sluggers now in trouble. I think Unholy Stench was used, which does do a small amount of damage, but you mainly use it for the awesome suppression it does. 313, 470. And Plague Fist is now on the way for the Plague Champion. Is that a good choice? DPS is decent. Pestilent Strike will help versus the Sluggers, but Sluggers on their own aren't a huge melee to deal with, melee threat to deal with. Don't think he quite needs the Plague Fist, and in fact he's cancelled it. He's gone for some Bloodletters.
Your forces obey.
Should get some Havocs, I think. 295, 470. Looters are up. These are a suppression squad that's set up with this big death gun. Can get a beamy death gun as well, which is awesome versus vehicles, but then they can't suppress. They can also infiltrate, as you can see, which is unique among setup teams. Here are Bloodletters now. Demon infantry with awesome power melee damage, and we have some Mark of Khorne CSM. Lots and lots of power melee damage now up for Zoukka. Not a lot of heavy infantry to go against. In fact, there's none. But it's awesome melee nonetheless. Here come Heretics. Looters uncloaked a bit too late. And that was a huge big stomp from the Warboss. And he's going to need that because he's up against Heretics, CSM and Bloodletters now. And the Plague Champion has gone for the Plague Fist. And down goes the Warboss. He has Looters and Cyborg implants to deal with all the melee, but now he's down, of course. Weird Boy on the way, which will help a lot with its Warp Vomit. Bloodletters chasing down those Sluggers with that passive teleport they have in Elite Mod. And Sluggers run away. Sluggers get their Nob leader. Makes them a whole lot better in melee combat. 246, 470. Bloodletters will now decap the northeast. Good recovery from zoukka. But the weird boy is now up. 241, 470. Sub-commander for Orks. Really good at dealing with clumps of infantry. Good support as well. Starts off with Zap and Warp Vomit. Two very good abilities, especially Warp Vomit. Really good ability. Stuns for like 7 or 8 seconds, I think, over quite a large area. 238, 470 Bloodletters are going to finish that cap. CSM finished this cap. These guys now fully upgraded with Eternal War, Aspiring Champion, and Mark of Khorne. These guys are doing some serious power melee DPS and have decent mobility. As you can see, they do get a nice speed buff from Mark of Khorne, in addition to the chain axes and the health buff. Their Aspiring Champion also has a melter pistol. The others have a plasma pistol. Zap on these heretics. That was not a good place to use it though. Or was it? CSM come into range and it jumps to them. The thing about Zap is it only does damage when it jumps, so you want to use it on units that are close to the other units or it will just wear off. There's a Noxious Cloud. And full retreat from Bad Ash. Did not want to engage with the cloud there. Global ability of the Plague Champion. Quite nasty, but it is a decent amount slower in Elite mode, I think. It does heavy melee damage though, I believe. So can damage all targets reasonably well. 238, 435, 2-1 cap for zoukka. Is he going to go tier 3 here? Bad Ash with a lot of stuff in tier 2. Can he make all of this work? It's a reasonable amount of micro now. He's got to manage the Warboss's abilities, who now has the Power Claw. He's got to manage the Pain Boy. Got to manage the shooters with aiming what's that, and now a Weird Boy to manage. 238, 422. Weird Boy with his awesome basic attack doing knockback and a reasonable amount of damage as well. 238, 417. Bloodletters teleporting in, but Sluggers and the Pain Boy turn right on them. Does the Pain Boy have stronger git source? Does. 238, 412. Plague Champion in retreat. I just don't think the Plague Fist is well suited to pair with Mucus Discharge.
A requisition point is slipping away.
Makes it quite difficult to level up the Plague Champion. When you have Icon of Nurgle, he levels up like crazy. 238, 398. If you're going to get the Plague Fist, might as well go the whole hog and get Pestilence and Icon of Nurgle. We did get these in tier 1 of course, but I think the Power Sword would have been fine if you wanted a melee weapon. A lot quicker attack speed, so would have taken out more Orks quicker. You lose Pestilent Strike of course though. Now we have shooters in the hell out of generators, doing a reasonable job as you can see at bashing these gens without a Nob leader as well. 238, 391. Warboss finishes the cap. What's going on down here? Grenade barrage, heretics, Bloodletters not wanting to engage there. Good thing about this build is the Plague Champion can use Pestilent Strike and then he can support all of his Bloodletters and Mark of Khorne CSM with the Mucus Charge, Breath of Nurgle heal. Unholy Stench of course isn't bad as well. It is quite reasonably energy intensive now with 3 abilities to use. Needs to manage them well. What's going on top? There's a Warp Vomit. Shooters running away. Looks like we do have a Nob leader on this squad, yes. The other one does not. Touch of Nurgle heretics as well. Going after the Weird Boy. Mark of Khorne CSM going after the Warboss, who's gonna go down here I think. Nope, charges away with Now I'm Angry. Heretics in retreat path, but they don't go after him in time and he gets away. He is level 2, 203, 391. Plague Champion going down. What is he up to? Trying to get into base there. So 2-1 cap for Bad Ash. Zoukka is tier 3 but has lost quite a lot of stuff. Has tons of requisitions. Maybe he should get another CSM squad out. Give it Eternal War, maybe an Aspiring Champion. You do not need to give your CSM marks. Just with Eternal War and Aspiring Champion, they are a very solid squad. Decent both melee and range. They do not have a melee charge or anything like that of course. Heretics, level 2. Have done well with these grenade launchers really. Zoukka losing his Bloodletters of course. going up to base like that, I think. I'm not sure what he was trying to do, maybe trying to chase something back to base. I wasn't looking. CSM have lost a model, but it wasn't their aspiring champion. They're just going to retreat back to base and lost a whole bunch of hit points there. 197, 374. Can zoukka come back from this? Not sure how effective that Touch of Nurgle was, and it's not cheap. 150 red to use Touch of Nurgle, 200 red to use Noxious Cloud.
Your forces obey you.
Weird Boy still around, doesn't have any upgrades yet. You can also get the Foot of Gork and Over Dare and Warpath abilities. There's Zap on those heretics. I think it does 50 damage per jump. Look how much damage they took from that Weird Boy basic attack though, and now they're in retreat, and burners on these sluggers are hitting generators. Bad Ash needs to start venturing down through the middle, I think, and try and cut off zoukka as he tries to make his way over here, but the Plague Champion already has, and caps Bad Ash's natural, repurchased again. The Plague Champion then, he's level 3, gonna get suppressed by this Looter's Stone. Look at the damage they do that close. Set up teams with suppression weapons and also some other weapons, stuff like auto cannons, also do more area of effect damage as you get closer, but suppression weapons especially do a lot of damage when you get close. And down goes that gen farm completely. Zoukka up against it, but he has a great unclean one on the way. 188355. Can he turn this around now? Aspiring champions trying to get into melee, suppressed by aiming. What's that? Looters pulling back so they can set up again. There's Touch of Nurgle on the heretics. Big stomp. Look at the knockback and stun. Such an awesome ability. Gives him 200 health as well. Touch of Nurgle heretics pretty much wasted here, I think. Yeah, pretty much wasted. You have to wait until you are certain that you're in melee before you use it. That was way too early to use it. And they lost 7 models as well. But here is the Great Unclean One super unit for Chaos. Hugely tough, over 6,000 hit points of super heavy infantry armor. Very nasty in melee combat. Actually passively damages nearby enemies. Has some cool abilities as well. Plague Champion going up against the Warboss here. Level 2 Warboss versus level 3 Plague Champion. There is Pestilent Strike, but the Warboss used his stomp before Pestilent Strike hit, so it still went off. Here comes the Great Unclean One. It is a demon, so will benefit greatly from worship. The Greater Demon of Nurgle, of course. 160-352. Does splash damage with its massive sword of crap. 154-352. Bad Ash wondering how he could afford this big guy. Did he just use the vomit and completely miss? I think he did. Now tier 3 for Bad Ash. Tier 3, I don't think Bad Ash put enough pressure on this natural of zoukka. Does have a 2-to-1 though, but this Great Unclean One is a big headache for Bad Ash. Pain Boy and Sluggers aren't going to be able to do much towards it. Warboss can get in with his Power Claw, 95 DPS heavy melee weapon. The Plague Fist, on the other hand, is a 72 DPS heavy melee weapon, but you do get the awesome Pestilent Strike. 139, 352. It's a 1-to-1 cap. Shooters now, both of them have their knob leader. Great Unclean One uses Foul Snare on the Weird Boy, which often misfires, but not that time. Now the Beamy Death Gun getting shots off, and now he's in amongst these Orks. You see that passive damage over time. He used to use his Cloud of Flies. Use it. He's not using it. Use your choppers and Ard Boys on these sluggers. 2 Warboss buffs. Bad Ash just lost a bunch of stuff. 139, 334. Not paying attention to the engagement of the Great Unclean One there. Markov Corn CSM are wiped out though. Plague Champion level 3. That was a messy engagement for both players. zoukka with a huge loss, losing those Chaos Space Marines. They must have been at least level 2. Foul Snare on the Warboss won't finish him off though. Look at this sword. 139, 316. And he's going to now hit power. Is Zoukka going to win the game because of the Great Unclean One? We do have a Nob squad on the way for Bad Ash. Is it going to be enough though with Pestilent Strike and potential Touch of Nurgle Heretics? He doesn't quite have the red to use Touch of Nurgle again. Just 3 more. He's getting some more CSM though. Maybe Markov's Inch this time if he sees the Nob squad anyway. Nob squad now on the field. Tier 3 elite dedicated melee squad, can go toe to toe with anything with their upgrades, but become extremely expensive. Now getting meaner and greener, can also get a Nob leader, and they can get huge hammers. Some Nurgle worship for the Great Unclean One will boost his health regen and energy regen since he is a demon. And there's Foul Snare again. What happened? Weird Boy was in the middle of using Warp Vomit, so it didn't seem to affect him. There's the Vomit, a lot better in Elite Mod, but here comes the Nobs, and look at the DPS they put out with those chain axes. It's crazy. They are a heavy melee squad, have heavy infantry armor, and there is Frenzy, costing 75 red, giving them invulnerability and immunity to suppression for, I think it's 8 seconds, with a 60-second cooldown as well. Has already worn out, so maybe it's 6 seconds. Warboss chasing down the Great Unclean One as well. He's taken so much damage from those Nobs. Heretics, almost level 3. Here's some more Nurgle worship. Needs to get back into base though and worship there, I think. Oh, he just consumed a heretic, poor little fella. 138, 265. Chaos Predator on the way for Zoukka. Risky versus a Nob squad. Maybe he's going to get a Mark of Corn for it. Badash, yes he did. Very, very long time ago. Warboss taking a lot of damage now. There's a Rocks on the Great Unclean One and those Heretics. Really, really awesome nuke for Orks. Costing 500 red. And lots of Heretics died, but that was pretty much it. So, I think wasted by Badash. Not sure what he was trying to do. Wasn't going to take down the Great Unclean One with it. 111, 265. Here comes Sluggers and a Nob squad and Pain Boy, who of course will be able to support those Nobs. Really nice Vomit usage there on the Nob squad. It's got a lot of damage, now getting at huge hammers. Chaos Predator is there. Has no mark yet. There's Cloud of Flies forcing off the Sluggers. Plague Champion might go down in retreat to the Pain Boy, and does. Pain Boy levels to 3. And now he has the Cyborg Implant equipment. No doubt he's going to use that on the Nobs. Maybe he already has. There's Noxious Cloud. Beamy Death Gun looters getting shots on the Great Unclean One, but it's out of range now and survives with 70 hit points or so. Wow. Weird Boy almost took down this Chaos Predator. 78, 265 is a double cap for Badash. He should have this tied up. Great Unclean One doesn't help you with map control really, unless you're on a map with a very obvious contested VP and very safe naturals, which is not this map. 56, 265. More Heretics now for Zoukka. Triple Heretics out. Using them to repair this Chaos Predator, and he's using his Plague Champion to cap, but I think it's too late. 42, 265. Beamy Death Gun looters running away from the Heretics. These guys almost level 4. Great Unclean One coming back out of base, only has 440 hit points, but what can Zoukka do? He's got to. He's got to go after the natural, he's got to go after all 3 VPs here. CSM, late game CSM with no upgrades. Do not want to mess with these Nobs, who are now fully upgraded with their Nob leader as well, which makes them insanely expensive, up to super unit levels. 8 to 265. Is he going to be able to decap this VP in time? He is. But how long is that going to last? Bad Ash is coming up to smack some sense into him. Great Unclean One seriously needs some hit points. And we have a mark of Nurgle Chaos Predator. That's not a good idea, I don't think. It's going to be even slower and won't be able to get away from the Nob Squad. These heretics are done for. Bang. Power Claw and shooters take him down. A turret goes up for the Plague Champion. Heavy bolter turret suppresses and does reasonable damage, especially if you get close to it. Nob Squad though using Frenzy, and that turret will not last long, but there is Pestilent Strike. What's going on here? Bad Ash, what is he up to? Oh, he's going after this Predator. Sluggers and Pain Boy are there. Predator is not going to last long if the Warboss can get on rear armor there. There's Cloud of Flies from the Plague Champion, and there is Touch of Nurgle on these heretics and a Noxious Cloud. How many globals have we had? 5, 2, 5, 4. No, I don't think there was a Noxious Cloud. I was imagining things. I think that was the stink from the Cloud of Flies. 5, 2, 4, 3. Very, very messy engagement at the end for Bad Ash. But zoukka lost his CSM and lost more heretics and lost the Great Unclean One, which will explode now, doing damage to enemies. Almost took out the Warboss there and healing allies. 5, 2, 2, 5. Down goes the Predator. It's all over. It does have a double. These Nob Squad are not health capping, but it doesn't matter because zoukka has conceded. Crazy engagements all round. zoukka, I think, really could have done with getting some havocs on the field at some point. The big turning point was something I didn't see when he lost his Bloodletters and his Plague Champion in this area. I'm not sure what was going on. He was probably chasing down a unit, trying to take it out or something, and ran into a bunch of stuff. But there we go, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.